Hello and welcome to my show. My name is Madison Star Moon. Joining me from deep inside the rabbit hole, David Weiss is here. Tonight we cover a controversial and taboo subject. We know what shape the planet is in, but do we really know the shape of our planet? Could the Earth be flat? My guest tonight believes so and have plenty of evidence to back up their theories. I'd like to welcome now David Weiss and Doug Seitz to the show. Hey guys, how are you?
Doing great. Hi, Madison. Hey, Doug.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yeah, doing well. Okay, so David, you have done extensive research into this subject of flat Earth. I would first like to start off with a question I think a lot of people have. Why do you think there's so much controversy surrounding this particular subject?
You know, that is really one of the number one questions out there. It's because of the programming that we've had. You know, when we are infants, we are shown globes. You know, on Sesame Street, everything is globes and planets and all, you know, every movie, every television show, every cartoon, it's all about globes and planets. And it goes, you know, the same people that made the Flintstones went to the Jetsons. And, you know, we are programmed so many times during the day that we live on a spinning globe and we're never shown any evidence of it. We're just told, don't question it. That's it. And, you know, it's easy to lie to somebody, but it's very difficult to convince them they've been lied to. The question's really much bigger than that, you know, where people go to is, why would they lie? But, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is the flat Earth is the most controversial subject out there, and it's one that once you discover that we've been lied to, you cannot stop researching this. You want more and more truth, and on the other side of that, the people that refuse to look in it will ridicule you just as hard. It's actually fascinating.
Okay. Right. Okay, so I have a question. All right, a lot of people are saying that the flat Earth theory itself could be a psyop. You know, it could be something that's put in there to take, to take people's attention away from other issues that would be more important. What do you say about that? So
people can say a lot of things, and the truth is, you know what, you don't know what's a psyop or not until you look into it yourself. You know, I people on my Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole Facebook pages, on my Exposing the Big Three pages, they were posting flat Earth stuff for 6 months. I refused to even click on a single link. I banned people from my website because they were annoying me, from all my social media, because that's the most ridiculous thing. I'm not going to look into it. And then a couple of researchers that I respect convinced me to start looking. And once I started looking, once you look, you cannot go back to not knowing. It's literally like taking the red pill in the Matrix. And that's that.
Okay. So how do you feel about people that might pump together the flat earthers with the chemtrailers, with this and that? I mean, conspiracy theorists and stuff. Do you think there's some type of stigma connected to people that, you know, are investigating the flat Earth that may discredit other movements?
So let me better answer that question together. You know, when I started researching, all the other conspiracies, I started a Facebook page called Exposing the Big Three, which is 9/11, Sandy Hook, and Boston. I felt those three were the biggest conspiracies out there, and if I could wake people up to one of those, their eyes will be open and they can see. But you know, the stigma with just trying to expose those was enough. But then when I discovered the flat Earth, I didn't tell anybody about it for months. I knew the Earth was flat, and I did not mention it on my podcast. I didn't mention it to anybody publicly because I did not want to discredit the work I've done on exposing the Big Three and other conspiracies. But then I realized, you know what? The truth is the truth. This whole PSYOP thing, you know, agents, you know, these are CIA agents. They're trying to distract you from the truth. You know, you have to just look at the truth. The truth speaks for itself.
Okay, that's awesome. I think that pretty much sums up, you know, my questions for basically the reason why we are doing this show. You know, I was taking a lot of flack for it as well, and I'm really kind of confused about that. I've never covered the flat Earth before. I've never really investigated it. and you are someone that's very knowledgeable on this subject, so I thought it would be very interesting to hear your take on it, because I am open-minded. But for people to say that, I shouldn't even look into this subject, or we shouldn't even be doing a show on it, let alone speak about it, that's where I have a problem. Because, I do have an open mind. And it's not so open that my brain is falling out.
That is the fascinating part. We're just asking questions. And the truth is that if you look into the ball earth where we all think we live, there's so many questions that have no answers. I'll when somebody's asking me, like, what do you believe? I won't say I believe the earth is flat. I explain something about the ball earth and I ask a question and their eyes pop out of their head because they have no answer for the simplest questions that we've always assumed we knew the answers but never thought to ask.
Okay, I have a ton of questions for you. So you just take it from the top.
Sure. Doug, you want to say something?
Doug, did you want to say something?
Hey, Madison, can I throw one thing in real quick,
Sure can.
Hey, the one thing that got me was here Obama on national television says, we ain't got time for the flat earthers.
He mentioned flat earth 4 times this year in speeches.
Exactly.
And nothing is thrown into a speech, a presidential speech by accident. Every word is on purpose.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. They're deceiving us at every turn. And, we just want the truth. That's all.
Doug and Madison, the fact that Obama brought it up several times, people are using that as proof that it's a psyop. That's not proof that it's a psyop. That's proof that they see a flat earth awakening happening and they're doing their best to desensitize people to it or get out in front of it in some way. I'm not exactly sure what the purpose Obama speaking about it was, but they see it happening, and once you see the earth is flat, you never go back.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start off with my question. My first question is, if the earth is flat, where's the end of it? If you're just driving and the earth was flat, wouldn't you eventually fall off of it?
Beginner question 1A. Thank you for asking. People think that if the earth is a ball, well, a flat must be a disc with edges, and that's not how it is at all. The earth is a flat plane that goes on for, we don't know how far. We'll say an infinite distance, just like the universe supposedly goes on for an infinite distance. That flat plane is frozen. Imagine it as a giant sheet of ice. Let's say it's 2 miles thick, solid ice. Somewhere along that flat plane, just a small little spot, there's a magnetic point. We'll call that magnetic north, or the North Pole. And that magnetic north holds a capacitor that orbits around it and over that flat plane, and we'll call that capacitor the sun. And as that capacitor makes tighter circles around that northern part and wider circles around that northern part, it melts all of the ice in that path, and that puddle is where we live, and there's islands in that puddles that we call continents, and the outer edge of that puddle is the shore of Antarctica. So if you're moving any direction away from north, that's south. In every direction, 360 degrees away from north is south. East and west are not, there's no such thing as due east and due west. East and west are circles, clockwise circles around a center point and counterclockwise circles around a center point. And that's where we live. So it's just like a lake with islands in it. The water doesn't spill out. And if you get to the edge, you don't fall off. You're just on the outer edge of the frozen part.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
We don't know if our Earth is bigger than what we know it is, if there's other puddles here and there.
Right.
We don't know that because they won't let us go past that point.
We can talk about that. But so, Madison, did that give you a new vision of what the flat Earth is?
No. Can I just have a blonde moment right now or something? Okay, so why wouldn't the water fall off to the edge?
So you ever go
where's the end of the flat Earth?
So hang on. Do you ever go to a lake? You ever go a boating on a lake? So imagine a big circular lake. Let's say it's got a 5-mile diameter, and you go, and there's islands on the lake, and you get on your boat and you sail around. You go around all the islands. You come back to where you started. You've just circumnavigated that entire lake. If you're going clockwise, that's west. If you're going counterclockwise, that's east. If the center of the lake was north. And then when you land your boat on the edge of the lake, you get up and you put it on your boat and you drive away. All of that you drive away on is Antarctica. The lake doesn't leak out because there is no end. Is there an end? Maybe the end's 100,000 miles away, or 1 billion miles away, or 100 billion miles away. We don't know, just like we don't know where the end of the ball Earth universe is. It could be an endless plane, or it could end somewhere. That doesn't change anything.
Exactly. And that's
here we go.
why.
No, here we go. All right. So is the sun? Do you think the sun is flat?
So people compare the Earth to planets and the sun and the moon, and they're not comparable. They're different. The Earth is a flat plane. It's a realm where we live. The sun and the moon and the stars and the planets and what we call satellites are nothing more than lights in the sky. Some of them move around us without all together, and some of them move independently, which the ancients called wandering stars. But then NASA was developed and said, oh, these are planets, and they showed us CGI pictures, and we're imagining them that they're solid rock balls. The moon and the sun are very close to us. They're not solid. They're energetic, magnetic in nature. They're just lights in the sky. The moon is its own light, a different type of light.
Did you just say the moon? Hold on. Did you say the moon is not solid?
The moon is not solid. It's very, very close to the Earth, maybe 100 miles away. It's the same size as the sun, and the
moon is 100 miles away.
It's actually a full moon tonight. When we're done, go out and look at the moon. Zoom in on it with a camera and ask yourself if it's 238,000 miles away. It's ridiculous. You can see fine detail on it. The moon never changes.
What about the Van Allen radiation belt? What about the Van Allen? Are they supposed to be closer then?
Let me ask you a question. Who told you about the Van Allen radiation belt?
I mean, I learned about them on the internet and from different movies and
it was announced by NASA, and we can do a whole nother show on NASA. NASA is a fake agency. They've never been into space. They've never been to the moon. They've never put a satellite in space. Everything they do is fake. It's unreal.
What about the movie A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon? You're totally trying to discredit that entire movie then.
So if you look at that Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, they faked that they were halfway to the moon.
Yeah, I know.
So they were only in what we call low Earth orbit. 100,000 feet, maybe 200,000 feet. That's as high as anybody can go. No one's ever gone higher. Every rocket goes up, does a parabolic arc, goes out over the southern oceans and comes down, and then we're shown CGI movies to say that, oh, look, it's in space.
Where are you getting that the moon is 100 miles away? Where are you getting that?
Well, there was actually a laser test done independently just a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, and where they've tested it, and they came back with 99 miles. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but if you look at the flat Earth model and how things move, the moon and the sun are very close. I like to say they're under 1,000 miles away.
If they were so close, then why wouldn't it be possible that we could have gone there?
One, because they're not something you can stand on. You can't stand on a light source. You can't stand on energy. The sun, we're told that the sun is a burning ball of hydrogen that's just far enough away where we're in the Goldilocks zone, where it's just warm enough and it's not too hot, not too cold, which is garbage. I mean, we're during our summer, we're farther from the sun, and during our winter in the inner northern hemisphere, I call it, we're closer to the sun. None of that makes sense. And we're told that the sun, because of the angle, because of the tilt of the ball, the spinning ball Earth, because it's at more severe of an angle, we get less light. Less heat. That doesn't make any sense, because the most severe angle is at sunrise and sunset every day of the year. That's only 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 degrees off the horizon as it rises, versus, noon being 40 degrees or 80 degrees, above you. None of that matters. If it was the angle of the sun that heated and cooled the planet, it would be it would be arctically freezing every sunrise and every sunset. Madison.
Okay, I want to go over this dome theory.
Go ahead.
Doug sent me a video a while back, and it looked like they were sending a rocket up, an independent rocket up into space, and it hit a dome. Do you know this video?
Yeah. It's the Go Fast video. It went to about 130,000 feet, and all of a sudden it hit something. It didn't bust into pieces. It didn't tumble, but it hit something, and it sounded and reacted like it was in some sort of liquid. We believe, and there's evidence to show it, that space is not what we were told. Space is liquid. Space, there's some sort of energetic dome above us. Some people say it's glass. Some people say it's water, plasma, whatever it is. It's not vacant space. And if you think about this, I'll try to keep this short. We're taught, and we can prove in a lab, that high pressure always goes to low pressure. Always. That's just how it works. High pressure will equalize into low pressure. We're told that the space above the ball Earth is zero, is a vacuum. It's a complete vacuum. And if the space shuttle or anything, spaceship up there got a BB size hole in it, would suck all the air out of it and everybody would die. Okay. So we have the Earth, the spinning ball Earth. It's got its atmosphere, high pressure. And then if you go into outer space, it's zero pressure. It's a vacuum. How come the super vacuum of space doesn't suck all of the air right off the Earth? There's only one answer. There's only one answer for you to come up with, Madison. And when you give it to me, I'm going to show you how wrong it is. Why doesn't...
I'm not giving you anything. So go ahead.
No. Well, the only answer that you can come up with... Go ahead, Doug.
Well, my whole thing is back in the 60s, they were shooting warheads up there to try to break through it. And they couldn't do it.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah,
what's up with that with them? I remember that.
I mean...
Project
Fishbowl, and these are all... Yeah, and these are all the things that they hide from us because they don't want us to know. This is just it. They don't want us to know this stuff, and they're scared shitless that we're starting to wake up to it.
Let me just finish my my explanation. So most people will say, well, gravity holds on to the spinning ball has spinning gravity, and it holds the atmosphere, and the atmosphere spins with the Earth, which is absolutely ridiculous if you think about it. But and that's why the vacuum of space can't suck the air away, because gravity's holding it on. Well, imagine this: get like a 64-ounce soda bottle, suck out half of the air, put the cap back on. We'll call that a lesser vacuum, a less powerful vacuum. Hold that out in front of you, poke a hole in the bottom of it, and it's going to suck air up away from the Earth. Even better, stick the bottom of it in water, poke a hole in it, and it's actually going to suck the heavier water up away from Earth, which disproves 100% that gravity is holding the air onto the Earth. Gravity is a lie. It doesn't exist. It's just density. It's density and buoyancy that things sort out.
Gravity is a theory. It's a theory. It's not proven. Just because Einstein, or who was it, the relative gravity and all that, and he saw the apple fall. The whole reason the apple fell was because what was around it, the buoyancy of the air or whatever we call this around us, was thinner than what that apple was, and that's why it fell. It's all buoyancy.
So the other thing is with Project Fishbowl in 1949 or 59, whatever, when Admiral Byrd supposedly flew deep into Antarctica and discovered more land, a tropical land, a paradise. To me, that's like another. I call that another thermal pocket. I believe, and I have no proof of this, but it's a possibility that is we literally live on a flat plane like bubble wrap, and we are in one bubble and just past a very difficult barrier for us to get through. Like if you go deep into Antarctica, we have somebody that was in Antarctica for a year that's a flat earther that tells us everything. As you go farther, it gets colder, darker, crevasses, impenetrable to get through. But if you have, the proper aircraft or whatever, and you could fly, you could get to the next thermal pocket. And that's what I believe Admiral Byrd did, if his story is true. And so whatever, or the other story is maybe they got there and they found the wall and they're like, oh my God, here's the edge of the dome. So immediately they put in the Antarctic Treaty. No one can go there without supervision. Yeah. You can only go to the edge. And the same year they go, oh, look at this. We discovered the Van Allen radiation belts. They put a fence around us and a fence over us.
Wow.
Oh, how true. So I agree. I agree with everything he says, Madison. I've been telling you this, and you know it. Now you're starting to see. Yeah. I can see it in you.
I am not seeing anything. I'm conducting an interview. Thank you. Okay, here we go.
Oh, no.
Hold on.
No, I mean, we're all skeptics.
Doug, let her. Oh, don't believe anything we say. Just hear it and do more research and learn more.
Go ahead. I do agree.
Go ahead.
I do agree.
Yeah, Doug.
Go ahead, Madison.
Doug, I know. I told Doug not to do this. I warned him. Doug is all about this flat Earth, and that's why I have him on the show. But, I knew he would get like this. All right, here we go. NASA with their CGI pictures of Earth.
All right.
I'm just stoked up that we're actually talking about it.
All right, Doug, let's continue. So NASA and their CGI pictures of Earth. Can I comment?
Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead. Talk.
So everybody, every book, every iPhone, everything has the blue marble picture, which was 1972 or whatever year it was. Don't quote me on that. And if you look at it, it's a semi-beautiful painting. That's all it is. They took another picture of the Earth, perfectly lit, just like the blue marble picture, years later, and the United States was 4 times the size. Yes, the United States is getting fatter. It's all the GMOs and everything else, but it's the same. Right. It's the same size picture. The continents are different. I think there's a half a dozen pictures. They're all different colors, different. You could explain away different colors. Oh, they use a different lens or whatever. But you can't explain away different size continents on the same size sphere. They're just CGI paintings. Whenever they show a video of the Earth spinning, there's only 2 or 3 of them. The clouds don't move over a 12-hour period. Everyone knows if you go outside, time-lapse clouds for 5 minutes, they completely change. They're completely fake. The video of the moon transiting the Earth, which I believe they put out 2 this year, is so...
that was horrible. That was worst yet. I saw that.
You know what's funny about that is if you show that to somebody and say, hey, is this from NASA or is this just a cartoon that somebody made? And if they have no idea, they'll all pick cartoon. But as soon as they find out that it's on NASA's website, they go, oh, it's real.
Yeah, you're right. It's so fake.
Yeah. I actually did it a little backwards. I realized the Earth was flat and still believed that NASA was real because I grew up with NASA. I grew up just with all of the moon landings and Star Wars, and I was into it all. And the only reason that I did not know NASA was fake is because I never questioned it. And once the flat earthers started, Dave, look at this, and I started looking. It's embarrassing what they show us.
Yeah. Do you believe in the hollow Earth theory? Or is that a completely different thing?
So the hollow earth theory is based on a ball earth with a whole new world inside of it. So it's been completely proven that we do not live on a stationary or spinning ball. There is no curvature. But yes, there are massive caverns underneath the flat earth. There are bunkers. There are cities. There are railways that the elite are building underneath this earth. And, whether it's going to be their runaway civilization, whether there's other civilizations down there right now with other species of humanoids down there, that's a whole nother question. But, it's not the hollow earth theory that you're talking about.
Okay. Right. Okay. Doug, I want to give you a chance I have like a whole list of questions here, but Doug is more into this than I am. He knows a lot more about it. So, do you have any questions, Doug?
Oh, no, I agree with everything he says. I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, I get back to the same question. We're just being lied to. And it's like, why can't we...
Just because we're being lied to, it doesn't mean we're being lied to about everything.
Correct. And you have to ask questions about... Here's the thing. Without getting... I would like to stay on the flat earth and NASA topic for the show. But anything you hear, even if it's conspiratorial, even if it looks like they're trying to cover up something, doesn't matter what it is. If there's no physical evidence, you have no right in believing it. Once you believe something, you are blind to the truth.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, that's just it. Yeah, go ahead.
My friend has a question. He wants to know what is on the bottom of the flat Earth? Like, right. Underneath this big plane that you're saying that it is, what's underneath of it?
So that's a very good question. On the ball earth theory, we're told that there's a spinning molten metal core, and that's why the poles move around because this spinning liquid magnet, which now doesn't exist anywhere else. We can't recreate it in a lab or anything. And they know the composition of this 24,000 mile spinning ball, when in fact that no one's ever dug down more than 7 point something, less than 8 miles is the deepest hole that's ever been dug. I think it was in Russia, and we're supposed to know what's inside this 24,000 mile spinning ball. So we have no idea in what we're told is the truth. It's all lies. The flat earth, we don't know how thick it is. I can tell you one thing for sure. It's thicker than 8 miles. That's it. Maybe it's 8.1 miles, and then below it, there's a turtle, holding it up. I have no idea. Maybe it's floating in space. Maybe something that we do not have the words for. I don't know. What's at the end of the universe? Go ahead.
Yeah, what do you think the main agenda is with saying that the Earth is round?
Control. Because here's the thing, Madison and Doug. My entire life, I was very scientific. I explored all religions and dismissed all of them. I believed in evolution. I believe that we are here and then we die, and that's the end of it. And I just never believed in anything like that that the earth was created, lightning struck, amoebas grew, we evolved, the whole thing. I bought the whole ball of wax. The problem is what the elite are trying to do is separate us from the truth, separate us from God, and make us think that we are insignificant specks flying in an infinite universe, that we are nothing, and there's trillions of other specks just like us, and that takes our power away. When you understand the nature of the world that we live in, there is no possibility that this is by chance. This was made. This was designed. We were put here. We did not evolve from monkeys or anything else. And that we live in a construct. Who built it? Everybody has a different word for it. I try not to use anyone else's words. I say that that some intelligence built this place for us.
Yeah,
you're an atheist.
I was an atheist. No. I was an atheist. I am no longer an atheist. If you want to use the word God, that's fine. That's just a descriptive word in my book. But
Exactly.
Something built this place for us. That we are very special. People say, "Oh, you think you're special in this gigantic universe that's very self-centered of you." Well, the universe isn't gigantic. It's just the world that we know is just this puddle that we live in. The stars and wandering stars, also known as planets, are lights that are above us that circle around a center point that we call Polaris. Imagine this. We're told that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. The Earth is spinning around the sun at 66,000 miles per hour. The sun is flying through the universe at 660,000 miles per hour. Very interesting numbers, but we won't go there. It's going in 3 different directions at tremendous speeds at all the time. If you know anything about parallax, how things change, when you're on the highway, trees that are next to you are whizzing by you, but trees in the distance are moving very slowly. That's called parallax, how things move. How is it possible that every year on any specific day, when you get back to that day, all of the stars in the zodiac, all of the stars in the sky are in the exact same position they were 365 days ago? How is it possible that asteroids or comets are coming by, like Halley's Comet comes by every 76 years? We would be billions of miles out of the way the next time it comes around. How is that even possible? These concepts that we're taught not to ask questions to make absolutely no sense. I got another one for you. How is it possible? Go ahead.
And the whole thing is just what you said. Take it, Shills, and run with it. Come on, explain that. Yeah. I believe that what you said, that's just it. How is it that the stars are in the same position every night, decade after decade?
I have an experiment people can do, with all of these different motions. Go outside on your porch, get a 3 or 4 foot piece of piping that has, like a 1/2 inch diameter, line it up with the North Star and nail it in place. So when you look through it, the North Star is in that pipe. And then watch it every night. The North Star will be there. 6 months later, when we're 180 million miles on the other side of the sun, the North Star is still in that pipe. 10 years, 20 years later, have your grandchildren look through it, and they will see the North Star in that pipe. That proves that the Earth is flat and stationary and does not move.
Exactly. I do agree.
All right.
Madison,
what would you say is the most compelling? What would you say is the most compelling argument that any flat earther? What are y'all called? People that research this, truthers, flat Earth truthers.
Well, flat Earth researchers, the people that are asking questions. Yeah,
I feel like flat earther is an insult. I don't know why. Maybe I'm like brainwashed into not researching this topic.
You are brainwashed.
Other people have shamed me because of it.
It's okay. I enjoy being a flat earther because guess what? It's the truth, and the truth, the truth is the truth. Madison, that's a question that many people ask. What is the number one proof? It's such a complicated subject. There really is no number one proof. We've discussed lots of them. Just the North Star one. If you think about it, that's a great one. If you satellite
satellites are airplanes. There's no satellites. They can't go anywhere. They can't go out of where we're at here.
Right. So here's another one to think of, and this is a little more visual. It's not that hard. Imagine the sun. Okay, the sun's right in front of you. You're holding your fist out is the sun, and you hold your hand out way to the left, and that's the Earth. The side of the Earth that's facing the sun is daylight, and the side that's facing away from the sun is nighttime. So if you're on the nighttime side and you're looking away from the sun, you see all of the stars on that side of the universe. You with me, Madison?
Right.
Okay, so now I'm looking at all of the stars off to my left. Now, 6 months later, the Earth has moved to the other side of the sun, and the side that's looking to the left is looking at the sun. It sees no stars. It sees daylight. And then you have to wait until you're spun around on the other side, looking to your right, and that's nighttime, and you're seeing the other side of the universe, but the stars are the same that you saw 6 months ago. That's impossible in a spinning ball orbiting universe. You are on a flat stationary plane. The stars are going around us. The sun takes slightly different path, which gives us our winter and summer. you just have to think about these things, but we're never allowed to ask in the indoctrination system.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
And that's,
Right. Now you did.
and that's just it.
Go ahead, Doug.
And that's just it. We're always criticized for asking a question. Well, I'm sorry. I don't believe, it doesn't sound right to me. And it's my opinion to say that, I'm, going to say something against this. And they're like, oh, no, don't say that. Don't say that. I mean, this is just it. We need to keep speaking out. And whether it's chemtrails or vaccines or anything, we all need to speak out about this because they're getting scared that we're waking up to this crap. And that's the big thing. They're scared.
Okay, so David, you had done a video. I don't know if it was actually your video, but you have covered this about how they're not in space, they're actually in tanks of water.
Yeah, absolutely. So the stuff we've seen on the space shuttle, the EVAs they do, the repairing of the satellites, they're done in a deep pool that has a blackout top on it. They've gotten better. They have LCD, CGI, Earth, below them and stuff. But it's all in water tanks, and there's bubbles. But the funny thing is, because they're in water tanks, they don't do it right side up. They do it sideways or at a 70-degree angle or upside down. They film it. And so if there is a bubble, it goes the wrong way and people don't even notice it. But little bubbles always escape. There are no bubbles in space. They're in water. The zero G that we see in the space shuttle is done multiple ways. Some of the longer versions are done on wires. Lots of times they use the Vomit Comet, the zero G plane, which gives them about 45 seconds of true zero G. And if you watch, I've broken down a lot of videos where the one where the girl's washing her hair, it's got 15 different cuts in it in in a couple minute video. If you watch the women on the space station, their hair is always pointing straight up. If it was truly zero G, it would be flowing in every direction. They're hanging upside down. And if you watch them, they hold their hands together tight against their body, because if they didn't, they'd flop over their head. They're.
Oh, you got to send me a clip of that.
Yeah.
Because I remember the one video where they were saying that it was like hairspray or something like that.
It is hairspray.
A wig or something.
It is hairsprayed, but they're upside down, hanging. You can see it. If you were on the space shuttle wearing your socks and stuff, would you have your shirt tucked in tight? Would you be wearing tight pants? It's garbage. Once you look and you have you can let down your ego to say, hey, you've been lied to your whole life. Everything about this is a lie. Then you can see the truth. You have to stop believing and you have to start seeing.
Right. Well, okay, so someone that I follow, a fellow friend of mine on Facebook, Bart Sabrell, I love all of his work. Now, he did the movie A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon and also Astronauts Gone Wild. In the movie Astronauts Gone Wild, he exposes NASA for blatantly lying about going to the moon. Now, why would he do this and at the same time be promoting the fact that the moon is however many, 150,000 miles away or whatever?
So Bart believes that the moon is where they say it is. NASA, the one that's lying to him, he believes that what they're telling him on other things. Basically, when somebody lies to you, you have to discredit everything they say until you have proof. Everything that Bart believes about the moon is told to him by NASA, and he has zero proof. I interviewed Bart with Patricia Steer, and we talked to him extensively in between segments, and he does not get it. He's been whether he got that reel on by mistake or they gave it to him on purpose, just as one of the games that they play. I don't know the answer to that, but Bart does not get it. Nice guy, he's missing the boat.
Wow, because I totally love, what, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon is one of my favorite, moon landing host videos.
Let me tell you, because people are waking up, they're like, hey, let's give this guy Bart, whether Bart knows what he's doing or not, that's another question. Let's give him this one thing, and people go, hey, NASA's lying to us, but it's still possible to go to the moon. That's the message that he's giving. So that's all they want. They want people
he's giving the message. He's giving the message that we cannot go to the moon.
But the moon is still there. that's fine. They want us to believe in the heliocentric model.
I don't know that I believe it. You're saying that the moon is how far? 1,000 miles away?
I always say less than 1,000, but if somebody said, hey, we're having a pool, whoever guesses the closest wins $100, I'm going to say it's 100 miles away.
100 miles?
100 miles away.
That is where I'm like...
And I think I'm high.
I'm like...
So...
Do you have videos? Where are the best videos at sea? Because I don't know anything about this. You're teaching me everything right now. Everything you're saying is the first things I'm hearing about this. So I want you to tell everybody what is the best videos, the best sources. I'm going to tell them right now that we can find information.
I'm going to tell them right now. There's a whole bunch of us. I make some great videos, but my videos are nothing without everyone else's videos that's doing good work. There's a YouTuber named Jeranism. He destroys NASA and the heliocentric model. He's one of the best. ODD Reality used to be ODD TV. His videos are long, well produced. They're amazing. My videos 3 to 5 minutes just to open up your mind, because people won't watch a long video on something they don't believe. You got to get them with a short one. It's just like a preview for a movie in the movie theater. You got to watch the preview to get interested in the longer movie. All of these are hosted at my website. Let me just give a caveat there. My website is a mess. It doesn't work on iOS, and it's great on a computer. You can find all the stuff. It's actually being rebuilt by an amazing web developer, a truther, who has donated his time, and it will be relaunched in a couple of weeks. It's still up now, the old one, but don't try to access it on your phone. It's deep inside the rabbit hole. The first 3 pages and the links at the top are all about flat Earth. If you take the time to watch those videos, even just one page of those videos, you will know that the Earth is not a spinning ball. And shortly after that, you'll know that we live on a flat stationary plane. DeepInsideTheRabbitHole.com.
Okay, that's awesome.
And I also have a Facebook page called Ball Earth Skeptic. If you want daily posts from everyone else, everyone's videos as they come out, I'll put every good video there. I put the best videos on the website. Hey, you're looking for something to watch on TV? Turn off the TV. Turn on your computer. Crank up the Apple TV or whatever box you have to connect it to the TV and start watching these movies. They're fascinating. It's the best TV. I would pay, $100 a month to get that content rather than the crap that they feed us from the black box.
Yeah. Now, how do you deal with the trolls? I'm sure you're trolled a lot, right?
I ignore the trolls because all they want is your energy, just like the powers that be want our energy. Ignore the trolls completely. Although, if there are some people, I don't even want to call them trolls, but that will ask good questions. They don't believe it, but if somebody comes and says, you retard, you're stupid, and they got no content, I won't even respond. I let them go, and then they get tired and they leave. Because there is no question that they can ask, and if they're willing to hear an answer, I'll give it to them. Sometimes I respond to the trolls because there's other people reading the thread, and I know it will help them. The trolls have inspired me to make some of my best videos. I've woken up tens of thousands of people with the videos that the trolls inspired me to make. So I appreciate the trolls.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And Doug, do you have anything you want to say? Because we're about to close up. We only have, 3 minutes left.
Oh, just sitting outside here in Yuma, Arizona, looking up at the stars and looking to the south.
And they're in the same place. They're in the same place as yesterday.
They're in the same place they were last night. The North Star's right up there. The Big Dipper.
Yeah. It's just.
It's. Go ahead.
Let me just chime in. One of the questions that you missed and a lot of people are going to ask is how come you can't see the North Star from the southern hemisphere? And it's because they're so close. As things move into the distance, like chemtrails, if you watch a chemtrail go from horizon to horizon over your head, it looks like it's making a big arc, but it's really making a straight level line. It's just the way you perceive things. And as you get farther and farther from things, they get closer and closer to the horizon from your point of view. And then they hit the point of convergence, and we have lots of videos explaining that, and that's why you can't see stars. It's not because it's going over the curve of the Earth; it's the distance they are from you, and
the perspective.
Yeah, it's all about perspective. There's a.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Again, thank you, David Weiss, for giving us this interview. It was awesome speaking with you. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be interested in this and look into it. It was very compelling evidence. Doug, I want to thank you for coming on, and sorry for being so mean to you about all those flat Earth videos you kept sending me every day.
We love you.
All right, guys. Yep, until next time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.